Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwin, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about Chaos Space Marines as we get into the Corpus Brethren. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K content every single day. And if you have any requests or have any suggestions for topic ideas, comment down below. We read that every single day. And of course, check out our archive of just a bunch of lore videos because we might have already done your request. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the Corpus Brethren. The Corpus Brethren is a warband of Chaos Space Marines dedicated to the pleasure god Slaanesh. The Corpus Brethren's warband colors are dirty white with a brass trim. The warband's badge is a red horned demon head with multiple eyes centered on a field of white. The Corpus Brethren were a formerly loyalist chapter known as the Sentinels. Following the ecclesiarchal purge of the year 321 of the 37th millennium, a dozen star systems were engulfed by warp storm Dionys. Its echoes rippled along the spiral arms of the galaxy as it raged through the immaterium. Records of mutations and chaos cultist activity quadrupled overnight. Worse yet, it was not only the citizens who were affected by the sudden influx of chaos. Many of the Space Marine chapters with homeworlds affected by the warp storm found that the secret imperfections in their gene seeds were right large upon their new recruits, giving rise to a wave of disturbing manifestations, both physical and psychological. The Sentinels chapter were one of these such loyalist chapters of Astarte that had been affected by these warp storms. When the ecclesiarchy heard of this sinister turn of events, Saint Basilius the Elder demanded that all those chapters of the Adeptus Astarte, whose homeworlds had been touched by warp storms, be rendered onto his judgment. Such was the Elder's influence with the High Lords of Terra, that within a year this had come to pass. After a series of strict tests and prognostications, hundreds of chapters were deemed unaffected by the warp storm. No less than 30 were found wanting. The Judged, as these fallen chapters came to be known, volunteered for a redemptive penitent crusade. The most militant of their numbers demanded the right to purify their tainted flesh in the fires of battle, to make a noble end from a tragic misfortune. To the surprise of his closest advisors, Saint Basilius agreed to this proposal. He saw it fitting to send the accused into the Eye of Terror, taking the fight for the Imperium's future to the demon worlds inhabited by the traitor Marines. A representative from each of the doomed chapters held an emergency council of dismay to discuss the proposed crusade. After scant hours of debate, they acquiesced to Basilius' demands, for they believed that martyrdom was preferred to an existence of suspicion and doubt. The last few days of the year 321 of the 37th millennium saw a solemn procession of strike cruisers and battle barges. They passed through the Cadian gates into the Eye of Terror, relay systems dormant, and heretical colors obscured by black mag plates. One by one, the chapters of the Judge disappeared into the dust nebulae that surrounded the Eye. As the massive Space Marine flotilla entered the Eye of Terror, they were set upon by a massive Chaos warfleet. The resulting battle was so ferocious that the ships of the Judged were forced to retreat and were scattered to the furthest corners of the Eye. The ever-vigilant Astartes of the Sentinels chapter quickly found signs of Chaos Space Marine infestation, making planetfall upon the fleshy crust of Elysius. Only when their long-range scans of nearby mountain ranges revealed the topography of a human face did they realize that the demon world they had invaded took the form of a morbidly obese man curled into a ball. Putting their doubts to one side, the Battle Brothers of the Sentinels hunted down and exterminated the goat-headed mutant hedonist who frolicked between the tree-trunk hairs soaring up into the fiery sky. The eccentric death screams of the Chaos cultists did not go unheard. From the planet's yawning pores came gauntlet painted Slaaneshi noise marines, their sonic weapons splitting the night air with blood-curdling salvos. The Sentinels crashed headlong into battle with their outlandish foe, but as more and more flesh worshippers emerged to join the fray, the planet itself stirred, awoken by the din of battle. Lakeside's eyes gleaming, the planet shoveled the combatants into its waterfall gullet with a hand the size of a tectonic plate. By the time the Sentinels were regurgitated back into reality, they were unrecognizable as Adeptus Astartes. They had been refashioned into the cannibalistic Corpus Brethren renegades, ever bit as deranged as the Slaneshi-worshipping heretics they now fought besides. And those were 40 facts on the Corpus Brethren. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a viewer request, so if you have any more requests, comment down below. We try our best to do a variety of different topics of Warhammer 40K, so if you've been requesting something for a while and we don't get to it, it's not so much that we haven't seen your requests, it's just that we try to keep it as varied as possible. So we try to jump around between the armies and all that good stuff, but just keep commenting down below and we will get to your request. This was an awesome choice because it really illustrates how a Chaos Space Marine army can be very fluffy. The fluff that you create for your Chaos Warband just is varied. You don't have to stick with the traditional Traitor Legion. So if you don't know the difference between a Traitor Legion and a Warband, basically the Traitor Legion are your typical Noise Marines, or your typical Thousand Suns, your Emperor's Children. So they're basically the original Horus Heresy legionnaires who followed their Primarch into the Eye of Terror, or who escaped into the Eye of Terror because their Primarch was killed during the Horus Heresy, and they are still that legion. So they're Marines that fought during 30K, and they've lived for so long because the Chaos Gods have empowered them to live this long. So that is what a Chaos Legion or Chaos Traitor Legion is. Now, that's not to say that every single legionnaire from those Traitor Legions are from 30K. Some of them were slaves that were captured. Some of them were, I guess, legionnaires that were created through stolen gene seeds, stuff like that. But the majority of them are from 30K who have just been empowered and have lived for so long. And then you have warbands like these guys who were created because they were basically successor chapters that were tainted by chaos. And if you go with that route, you have so much room for just crazy lore that you can create. I mean, entering a demon world and landing on an obese man planet, that's pretty awesome. So you could also play around with the home world of your Chaos Space Marine warband, which I wonder if the Corpus Brethren, then their homeworld is that obese man, or whether they're just gonna like leave that planet and go continue to spread their chaos taint. I didn't say that on the lore, but you can add that to your own lore when you're creating your own chapter, or sorry, your own warband. Now that also, just so that I can clarify, there are other warbands that are just like splinter units from the traditional Traitor Legion, so the Thousand Suns, the Emperor's Children, all that kind of stuff. Those are the ones that just split off, and they are warbands, kind of like successor chapters, you can think of them as. But again, if you create your own lore and you really want to share it with the community that has been built on this channel, hit us up on Facebook or message us on YouTube with your lore, and we will be happy to create a lore video for you. And we can, showcase. If you have images, even if you don't have images, I'll try my best to find images that match your story. So if you are, if you watch us and you don't really play the game, but you would love to create your own lore about these Space Marine legions, do so. Contact us, and then we'll try our best to create a video for you based on the lore that you created. Go grim dark and just have fun with it. Also keep in mind that the images that I chose to use to represent the Corpus Brethren are just that. They're representation. They're not really actually what the Corpus Brethren look like in the Warhammer 40K universe. It's very difficult to find images of good models and good art or good paint schemes for the Corpus Brethren, let alone artwork. It's very difficult to find any type of artwork representing them, so a lot of these are just your generic Space Marines or Space Marines from another Slaneshi cult or some other type of cult that kind of fit the image. So don't take the images or the artwork here as a representation of what they actually look like. The only ones is going to be probably the first image and the second image, which show their true white color scheme with the demon horns and all that good stuff. But with that said, guys, I hope you enjoy these videos. If you do, share them with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever social media you guys use. If you want to support us a little bit more, jump on over to Patreon. A simple $1 a month helps us create more videos for you guys. You know the drill. Thanks for everything, and I'll see you tomorrow. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.